Hey y'all, this is Tyler from O.T.R.Outdoors. I posted a video or a picture the other day on Instagram of collecting or harvesting fatwood, and I had a couple questions about it. So I'm going to make 3 videos on 3 different methods of collecting fatwood. Real quick, what fatwood is. It is usually pine. There are some other conifer trees that you can use as well, but predominantly it's pine. And what it is when the sap from the pine collects in one location. Sorry, I got a bug on me. Collects in one location and is a accelerant that will help you build your fires, especially in wet conditions. So I got this little bitty stump right here. If you look closely on the sides here, you can tell it's pine. So one easy way to collect pine, or not to collect pine, but to collect fatwood, is to find a stump like this. The best part would be to dig it up and get the root out of the bottom. I'm going to do a video on that later. I've got a couple that I've pulled up previously that I just haven't processed down into sticks. So I'll show you all that process later. But for now, we're just going to take the stump itself. We're going to use this side right here because it's the tallest side. And all we're going to do is come down to about ground level and cut into it. And you'll know it's fat when you start cutting into it because of, sorry, wrong side. See how bright orange that stuff is? If you smell it, it smells like, to me it smells like paint thinner, but you'll know the smell. The nice thing about this log in particular, this stump in particular, is it's hollow in the middle. So I'm only gonna have to cut through as wide as this piece is, so about an inch, probably a little bit more because I'm a little bit further down, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. To get in right there, I'm through on that side right there. So from there, all I'm going to do, clean it off. And the other thing is, on your saw is going to heat up as you're cutting. If it's sticky, if it feels sticky, that means you definitely have sap in that wood. Another name for fatwood is sapwood or pitchwood. You should come over here on both sides of the cuts you made, cut down into it. And that came off. Just mess dirt off here. Not completely smooth. You see how orange that is? A little white spot. You can tell that's the sap. So I'll come back and cut the rest of this off later. 1, because it's on one of my trails. It's a trip hazard. For 2, it's got lots of fatwood. So this whole piece that I've just cut, once you get the outside part carved off, which we're going to go do next, you'll be able to tell that the rest of it by looking at the bottom here. This is all going to be good, solid, really saturated, for lack of a better term, wood that has all of the sap has collected in this bottom part. All right, so all I'm going to do is take my knife and clean up the outside of this piece a bit, get the bark off the outside. Had some moss on the inside. Like I said, that piece was hollow. That little stump was hollow. Get all the rotted part off of the outside, and that's all I'm going to do right now. And anything like that. And the nice thing is, if you got a good sharp knife, you take your time, because the sap will make this wood harder, more condensed, because it's full of a liquid essentially. Like when you, some old people used to say, or old timers, not old people, but used to say, if you have a loose axe head, stick it in water. Yeah, it's a temporary fix. It makes the wood swell, but as soon as the water evaporates out of the wood, it shrinks back down. This stuff doesn't evaporate, so your wood essentially is saturated, for lack of a better term. So all I'm going to do is go through, cut out all the, like I said, cut out all the part that's rotten. And once you get to that fatwood or that pitch wood, it'll be a lot harder to carve. It'll almost feel thick, I guess is a good word for it. But it's real hard to carve into. Even with a good saw, you'll notice a big difference once you cut through. Like if you're cutting one of the other methods I'm going to show in another video is cutting a limb off to get your fatwood from. If the outside of that limb doesn't have the fatwood in it, or isn't very dense fatwood, once you hit the fatwood part of that limb, you'll notice a significant difference on how hard it is to push your saw through that. So let me get this cleaned up, and get all the bark carved off, and then we'll go from there. All right, so all I've done is give myself a good base. In order to clean this up a little better, I'm just going to basically split it down into smaller pieces. Make it a little bit easier to handle because there's some grooves in this piece that are not really allowing me to clean up all the pieces I want cleaned up in it. And those are going to be decent sized pieces. They're a little thick for what you want to carry around. I mean, depending on how much weight you want to carry around. Let me turn the camera around. I'll give you a real good view of what this looks like when you cut into it. All right, y'all. So when you're done processing down, this is what it looks like. We got 2, 4, 6, 7. Well, really 6. This is a pretty small piece. Out of that one piece we cut off. So go back and cut the rest of that log, the rest of that stump down. Excuse me, my daughter's got friends over right now, so sorry for the background noise. So if we went back and cut the rest of that tree off, or the rest of that stump off, you'd have at least another 4 or 5 pieces about that size, because that was the biggest size that I cut off. So real quick, I'm going to show you when you're trimming all the dead stuff off, you're going to end up with pieces like this, real small pieces that end up coming off as you're trimming. Save those, because you can use just these to start your fire. If you're not worried about wet conditions or having a hard time getting your fire started, just want to try using it, this is a really good stuff. And I've got several pieces of it here that I'm not gonna save because I have tons of this stuff right now. But this would be a good thing to keep. The other thing is, if you're going to use this to light your fires, you could use this piece, take one of these smaller pieces like this one, and either split it down smaller or make a feather stick out of it, and then you can use your lighter. Because the cool thing with this piece right here, you don't have to do any prep to this because it's so small. Just hold the lighter straight to it and it's gonna go. So give me a second and we'll get the camera set down and I'll show you that. All right, y'all, so this is that little piece I had a while ago. So I'm gonna take a lighter, and they're a little sticky with the sap. That literally took half a second. See that nice black smoke coming off of it? And that's what you want. This stuff will burn great, even with wet. You could probably if you dip this in water, it's still gonna light. Or if it was raining, you collected this and it's damp. I did it one of my previous videos, both snow day videos. Parts of that stuff was damp, but because this accelerant of the pine pitch inside the wood, if you look real close and see if I can get it in there for y'all. I don't know if I can get this focused. You can kind of see it bubbling. That's the pitch as it burns. I mean, this is a tiny piece. This piece should, if this is a piece of just a shaving that you had made, it would have already completely burned. But because of that pitch, this is still burning. This is a little piece. This is going to burn for a while, and I'm maybe burned half of it at this point. So that's the first method of collecting your fat wood, or your pine pitch, whatever you want to call it. So remember, there's always a storm coming. Keep your powder dry, your action, your knife sharp, and your back trail. We'll see y'all next time.